So welcome today to another Tech Tuesday. Today we're going to be taking a look at the M65 Pro Corsair gaming mouse versus the Corsair Glaive RGB that's just been released. It's going to be a comparison video. I'm going to give my thoughts on which I think is the best and what the difference is pros and cons wise. If you want to see a review on the Corsair Glaive, check out the link in the description below. I've just done one recently. So the format of Tech Tuesdays is generally I'll do gaming reviews for products and gaming peripherals. If you want something for me to look at, put it in the comments below and I'll take a peek. I'll start off with a tech overview, then I do a pros and cons. So getting into here, the M65 here from Corsair is a FPS gaming mouse. It's a 1200 DPI optical sensor. It's got an aluminium grade structure underneath with some extra large glide pads. It's a bit of a weird shape, this Corsair mouse here. It's got the standard system surface calibration. This one has an additional sniper button on the thumb, as well as a forward and backwards button. You've got two profile buttons on the top, a scroll wheel, and a left and right mouse button click. The technical spec of this one is the DPI can go from 100 to 1200 DPI. It's also got an optical sensor. It's got 3-zone RGB. Got on the rear, it's on the front, and it's on the logo at the back. It's got 8 programmable buttons. You can select the poll rate from 1000, 500, 250 to 125. It's got onboard memory. This one weighs in at 135.5 grams with all the weights and 115 grams without the weights. It's got 3 weights in total, which are screws. You can see them on the base, and they're 20.5 grams adjustable weight. It's got a 1.8 meter braided fiber cable. It's 118 millimeters long by 72 millimeters wide by 39 millimeters high, and it's classed as the FPS gaming mouse. It comes in around 60 UK pounds. So taking a look at the Glaive RGB here, it's been released about a week here from Corsair. I kind of compare this to the M65 because this is another FPS gaming mouse. This one has slight modular customizability on the thumb here. You can change it out by 3 pieces. You've got a smooth version, you've got a rubber textured version where your thumb is, and you've got this raised thumb rest version as well. This one also has got 3-zone RGB lighting, and it's got additional profile button lighting at the top. So the technical specifications of this Corsair Glaive is it's 100 to 1600 DPI. This is an optical gaming mouse as well. It's got 6 programmable buttons. Its poll rate is 1000, 500, 250 and 125 as well. It's got onboard memory. Its total weight without the cable is 122 grams. The cable's attached, so it comes in with a braided 1.8 meter braided cable, and this again is the FPS version. So the dimensions of this one are 125.8 millimeters long by 91.5 millimeters wide by 44.6 millimeters high. The Glaive is $69.99, around 70 UK pound. So getting into the pros and cons here of the mice. The first pro that the Glaive has over the M65 is this 1 DPI increment per step. So normally you can only increment gaming mice like the Razer, which I've done some reviews on, the Naga or the Mad Cat Rat Pro X. You can only increment them by 50 DPI at a time, so 100, 150, 200, 250. The Glaive you can do by 101, 102, 103. So it gives you that little bit of a finer tweak that the other gaming mice don't allow. This is the first one I've seen that has a 1 DPI increment step. What difference that makes is really your preference. I've not noticed any difference between 50 and 1. It is very, very marginal. These have both got optical gaming sensors and they both track really well. I've had no issues. They've both got 3 RGB lighting zones. The M65 has an edge on the Glaive here that it has 8 programmable buttons over the 6. That for me is a bit of an advantage. I don't particularly like the 1 profile button on the Glaive. You have to cycle all the way through it. So if you've got multiple profiles, you have to go through them and then come back. Whereas the M65 allows you to go forwards and backwards. You could also assign those buttons to something else. This is the problem with the Glaive here against the M65 is the profile lights. The profile lights that people have been asking can only ever be blue at the minute. They cannot be changed. Whereas in the M65 you can have multiple colours. The weight difference here, although it's maximum weight of the M65, makes it 13 grams heavier. You can feel it when you're playing it. I prefer a slightly heavier mouse, and this is probably my preference. The Glaive does glide a lot better, I think, than the M65, but it glides almost too well on a hard surface mat, which is what I'm using. I mentioned this before in the review, but it does have a nice glide. It does take a bit more getting used to, but I do find it a little bit too light and it glides too well, so it makes it a little bit too fast. And the M65 allows a bit more of that fine tuning, so I think it wins slightly on that. The M65 is a little bit narrower and a little bit shorter, and it fits better into the palm of my hand. The Glaive RGB has this kind of high back, and that fills my palm a little bit more, and I find my hands probably a little bit further away from the left mouse buttons than I'd like. I measured the cables, the Glaive versus the M65, and they both are 1.8 meters. For some reason when I'm gaming, the Glaive does feel a little bit shorter. I'm not sure why. The other major difference between these two mice is the side buttons. The Glaive has quite large side buttons, and I've said before you have to push them upwards and inwards, whereas the M65 you don't. They're a bit smaller, a bit quicker and easier to press. The Glaive here for me, although they're nice tactile feedback, they both have nice buttons. I found the M65 had slightly better side buttons. So which one would you pick? I mean, that is really down to preference. I know some people would pick the Glaive, some people pick the M65. For me, it'd be the M65. I'm still a fan of it. I've played with quite a lot of gaming mice. Check out some of my reviews. And the M65 is the winner. Potentially is the new winner at the minute, but it isn't the Glaive RGB, but I will be reviewing that shortly. So thanks for watching. Hope this has been useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or let me know in the comments what you want to see going forward, and I'll catch you all again later. Thanks a lot.